there is a moment that comes quietly. It does not announce itself with dramatic music or a clear sign above the door that says, "This is it." It arrives in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday, or at 2 a.m., when you cannot sleep and you are staring at the ceiling with a feeling you cannot quite name, or in a conversation that suddenly goes somewhere unexpectedly deep and leaves you sitting in silence afterward. Something shifting inside you that you cannot fully explain. You have felt it before, that strange, weightless sensation of standing at the edge of something. Not danger, something else. Something that feels simultaneously like an ending and a beginning, like the world is holding its breath, like you are holding your breath. That feeling is not random. It is not anxiety. It is not imagination. It is recognition. Your mind, deeper than thoughts, quieter than words, recognizing that something is about to change. That the version of you that woke up this morning is not quite the version of you that will carry forward from this point. That a door is open that was not open before, and that what you do in this particular window, this rare, unrepeatable sliver of time, will determine what the next chapter of your life actually looks like. These moments do not come often. That is what makes them so easy to miss. Life moves fast and loud and demanding, and the subtle signal of a turning point gets buried under the noise of daily obligations, the comfortable weight of routine, the quiet gravity of who you have always been, pulling you back toward the familiar. Most people feel the moment and let it pass, not because they are weak, not because they do not want change, but because change, real change, the kind that restructures your life from the inside out, requires something that is genuinely difficult to summon: the willingness to release the version of yourself you have been holding on to and step into the version you have not yet become. You are reading these words right now for a reason, not a mystical reason, a very human one. Something in you is ready. Something in you has been circling this moment for longer than you realize. Something in you already knows that the life you are living and the life you are capable of living are not the same thing, and that the distance between them is not a matter of circumstance or luck or talent. It is a matter of decision. This is that moment, right now, right here. Let us walk through it together. Before everything changes, there is always a period that feels like nothing is changing. This is the part nobody talks about, the long gray stretch that precedes the breakthrough. The months or years where you're doing the work, making the effort, trying to move forward, and the results are invisible. Where you look at your life and see the same patterns, the same limitations, the same distance between where you are and where you want to be, and you begin to wonder whether you are fooling yourself, whether the life you imagine is actually possible for someone like you, whether the effort is worth continuing. If you are in that stretch right now, this is what you need to hear. That feeling is not evidence that nothing is happening. It is evidence that something important is happening beneath the surface. Think of a seed in winter ground. From above, from the outside, nothing is visible. No growth, no movement, no sign of life that anyone walking past could point to and say, yes, something is coming. But beneath the surface, in the darkness and the cold, the seed is doing the most critical work of its entire existence. It is breaking open. It is sending roots downward before it can ever reach upward. It is building the invisible foundation that will eventually make visible growth not just possible, but inevitable. You are that seed in winter, and the gray stretch you are living through is not stagnation. It is foundation building. It is root deepening. It is the necessary darkness before the emergence that everyone will eventually see, but only you will know was forged in the long, quiet, invisible season of persistence. The psychological research on this is clear and consistent. The people who achieve significant transformation in their lives almost universally report a period immediately before the breakthrough that felt like failure, like nothing was working, like they were falling behind, like the gap between their reality and their vision was widening rather than closing. And then something shifted, not always dramatically. Sometimes a single conversation, a single book, a single moment of clarity. At 2 a.m., a single decision to try one more time with everything they had. And from that shift, everything began to compound in ways that could not have predicted from inside the gray. You are closer than you think. The winter ground is not empty. The work you have done, even the work that produced no visible result, has not been wasted. It has been stored. And when the conditions align, it will all surface at once in a way that will make the long silence feel not like loss, but like preparation. Hold on. Keep going. The seed knows what it is doing. There is something that changes in a person right before their life changes, and it happens internally, invisibly, before a single external circumstance has shifted. It is a change in identity, not the surface identity, not the job title, the relationship status, the social role, the deeper identity. The answer to the question that most people never ask themselves clearly and honestly enough. Who do I actually believe I am? Because here is the truth that psychology and lived experience confirm in absolute alignment. You will never consistently act in ways that contradict your deepest belief about who you are. You will never build a life that is structurally incompatible with the self-concept you are carrying. No amount of strategy, discipline, or effort will produce lasting change if it is built on top of an identity that does not support it. The person who believes at the deepest level that they are someone who struggles financially will find a way to struggle financially regardless of the opportunities around them. The person who believes they are someone who cannot sustain healthy relationships will find a way to confirm that belief regardless of who enters their life. The person who believes they are not the kind of person who succeeds at the level they desire will unconsciously undermine every genuine opportunity to prove themselves wrong. This is not pessimism. This is the mechanics of identity. Understood clearly, it is one of the most empowering insights you will ever encounter, because it means that the most fundamental change you can make, the change that unlocks every other change, is not external. It is the decision to change who you believe you are, not to pretend, not to perform a new identity while the old one runs underneath, but to genuinely, deliberately, and repeatedly choose a new answer to the question of who you are, and to act from that answer consistently enough that it becomes the new truth. This is what every person who has ever experienced a genuine life transformation has done, whether they articulated it this way or not. They reached a point, often in a moment, just like this one, where they decided that the old story about who they were was no longer acceptable, where the pain of remaining the same became greater than the fear of becoming different. And from that decision, with all its uncertainty and discomfort, they began to act as the person they were choosing to become before the evidence fully supported it, before the results confirmed it, before anyone around them could see the change that was already complete on the inside. You are at that point right now. The old story has brought you as far as it can bring you. What comes next requires a new one. One of the quietest and most consistent truths about the moments right before everything changes is this: the thing you have been avoiding is almost always the door. Think about the areas of your life where you feel the most stuck, where the same problem recurs, where you have tried multiple approaches and nothing seems to shift, where you have made peace or attempted to make peace with a limitation that part of you has never fully accepted. Now ask yourself honestly, is there something in that area that you have been consistently, creatively, and sometimes unconsciously avoiding? A conversation you have not had, a decision you have been circling without landing, a truth about yourself or your situation that you have been keeping just slightly out of full focus, because bringing it fully into focus would require you to do something about it. That thing, the avoided thing, the circled thing, the thing you always find a reason to address tomorrow, is almost certainly the exact thing that is keeping the door closed. This is one of the most reliable patterns in human psychology. We do not get stuck randomly. We get stuck at precisely the points where growth requires us to do the thing we least want to do, to have the conversation that frightens us, to admit the truth we have been managing around, to release the relationship, the identity, the belief, the version of ourselves that we have been holding on to because it is familiar, even though it has stopped serving us. The mind is extraordinarily creative in its avoidance strategies. It generates legitimate sounding reasons to delay. It produces genuine feeling anxiety that presents itself as wisdom. It constructs elaborate justifications for why now is not quite the right time, why the conditions are not yet optimal, why one more round of preparation is needed before the move can be made. None of this is malicious. The mind is trying to protect you from the discomfort, the uncertainty, the vulnerability of genuine change. But protection from discomfort and protection from growth are, in this context, the same thing. You cannot have the life that is waiting for you on the other side of the door without walking through it. And the door requires exactly the thing you have been most expertly avoiding. You know what it is. You have known for longer than you want to admit. The question has never been whether you know. The question is whether you are finally ready to stop finding reasons not to move and simply move. The door is open. It has been opened for a while. Walk through it. Right before everything changes, the people around you will often not understand what you are doing. This is one of the most consistently painful and most consistently overlooked aspects of genuine personal transformation. And if you are not prepared for it, it can stop you before you have fully begun. The people in your life, the ones who love you, who know you, who have built their understanding of you over years of shared history, have a model of who you are, a mental image built from everything they have observed about you, your habits, your reactions, your patterns, your limitations, your typical choices. That model is not malicious. It is simply the way human relationships work. We build mental models of the people we know, and those models give us a sense of predictability and safety in the relationship. But when you begin to change, when you begin to act from a new identity, to make different choices, to move in directions that the old model does not predict, the people around you will experience a kind of cognitive dissonance. Their model no longer matches what they are observing. And the most common response to that dissonance is not curiosity or celebration. It is resistance. They will ask if you are sure. They will remind you of times you tried something similar and it did not work. They will offer well-meaning warnings, dressed in the language of concern, some of them unconsciously, without any awareness that this is what they are doing. Will attempt to pull you back toward the version of you they are comfortable with, because the version of you that is changing is, in a very real sense, a threat to the stability of their mental model. This is not a reason to abandon the people you love. It is a reason to understand what is happening clearly enough that you do not mistake their resistance for wisdom. Their discomfort with your change is information about their psychology, not about the validity of your direction. The people who are meant to walk with you into the next chapter of your life will adjust. They will update their model of you. They will find the new version of you just as worth knowing. perhaps more so. And the relationships that cannot survive your growth were always held together by the condition of your smallness, which is not a foundation worth preserving. Grow anyway. The right people will keep up, and the ones who cannot release them with gratitude for what was and clarity about what must now be. That is a quality that every person who has ever transformed their life has had to develop, not as a personality trait they were born with, but as a practice they chose and built deliberately. That quality is tolerance for uncertainty. Change, real change, does not come with guarantees. The new path does not come pre-lit with certainty about where it leads. The new identity does not come with a certificate confirming it is the right one. The new decision, the new direction, the new version of yourself that you are stepping into, all of it exists in a space where the outcome is genuinely unknown. And for most people, that uncertainty is unbearable enough that they choose the known discomfort of their current situation over the unknown possibility of something better. They stay in a job that is slowly diminishing them because at least they know what that diminishment looks and feels like. They stay in the relationship that has stopped growing because at least its limitations are familiar. They stay in the story that has been keeping them small because at least it is a story they know by heart. The gap between the life you have and the life you are capable of is almost entirely made of moments where you chose the familiar over the possible, where certainty, even the certainty of limitation, felt safer than the open, uncharted territory of genuine change. Developing tolerance for uncertainty does not mean becoming reckless. It does not mean abandoning all caution and leaping blindly into the unknown. It means developing the psychological capacity to move forward with incomplete information, to take the next step without being able to see the entire staircase, to make the decision that feels right and true and aligned with who you are choosing to become, even though you cannot fully predict where it leads. This capacity is built through small acts of courage repeated consistently over time. Every time you make a decision from your values rather than your fears, your tolerance for uncertainty grows. Every time you choose the vulnerable truth over the comfortable lie, your capacity for genuine change deepens. Every time you take the step you have been avoiding and discover that the ground holds, that you are more capable, more resilient, more resourceful than the anxiety suggested, the fear of the unknown loses a little more of its power over you. The life on the other side of this moment does not require you to be fearless. It requires you to be willing to be uncertain, willing to be in process, willing to not have all the answers while moving faithfully in the direction of the life you know is possible. That willingness is everything, and it is entirely within your reach. You are still here, and that matters more than you know. Most people who started watching a video with this title looked for the quick fix, the 3-step formula, the shortcut that would hand them transformation without requiring anything real from them. And when they realized this video was asking them to go deeper, to actually look at themselves, their patterns, their avoidances, their identity, they moved on, because real is uncomfortable, because depth requires courage, because a mirror, when it shows you the truth clearly, is not always an easy thing to sit with. But you stayed, and something in you stayed for a reason. Here is what we want to leave you with, not as a motivational closer, but as a genuine truth that we want you to carry forward from this moment into whatever comes next. The life that is waiting for you is not a fantasy. It is not the province of people who were luckier, more talented, more fortunate in their circumstances than you. It is the natural result of a set of decisions, internal decisions, mostly made in moments, exactly like this one. To see clearly, to act honestly, to release what no longer serves, and to step into who you are actually capable of being with the full weight of your commitment. You have everything you need, not in the sense that the road will be easy or the obstacles small, in the sense that the capacity to navigate whatever comes is already inside you, built from every difficult thing you have already survived, every failure you have already learned from, every moment of darkness you have already found your way through. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience, from survival, from the accumulated wisdom of a life that has already taught you more than you give yourself credit for knowing. The moment right before everything changes is not a moment of having it all figured out. It is a moment of deciding quietly, firmly, without fanfare, that you are done waiting for the conditions to be perfect, that you are done waiting to feel ready, that you are done waiting for permission from a world that was never going to give it. This is that moment. You are already in it. The only question is whether you will let it be the moment you look back on as the one where everything began to shift, or the moment you almost did. We believe you already know the answer. This is Mind of the Alpha. If this video reached something real in you, if it touched something you needed to hear, then share it with someone who is standing at their own threshold. Subscribe for more content that goes to the places most channels are afraid to go, and leave a comment below telling us what is changing for you right now. You only see this moment once. Make it the one that counts.